My younger sister and I were reborn on the day our family went bankrupt. My younger sister knelt on the ground, crying and pleading, "Mom, please leave the opportunity to go to school to my elder sister. I am willing to sacrifice for our family, give up my studies and marry Lucian." Lucian is the eldest young master of the richest family, but he has become a vegetative state due to an accidental car accident. In my previous life, less than a month after I married him, Lucian woke up. The whole family of the richest man credited the merit to me and doted on me even more. However, my younger sister was unlucky in meeting people. She was not only cheated of money and sex, but also almost beaten to death by domestic violence. She blamed me for taking away her identity as the young mistress of Lucian's family and drove and hit me to death. When I opened my eyes again, looking at her hypocritical appearance, I couldn't help but sneer. Even if reborn, a fool is still a fool. Mom, please leave the opportunity to go to school to my elder sister. I am willing to sacrifice for our family, give up my studies and marry Lucian. My twin sister Jamie knelt on the ground, sincere and resolute with a determined look on her face. I saw that my parents' eyes turned red and were deeply moved by Jamie's appearance. My family is facing bankruptcy. Only Lucian's family, the richest one, is willing to help. The condition is a marriage alliance between the two families. However, as everyone knows, Lucian, the eldest young master of Lucian's family, became a vegetative state due to a car accident half a year ago. Marrying him means possibly being a widow for a lifetime. In my previous life, in order not to marry Lucian, on the day when my family was going to draw lots to decide who would marry him, Jamie secretly bribed the servant and replaced the two lots with identical ones. Then she generously let me draw first. The result was self-evident. But she didn't expect that less than a month after I married him, Lucian miraculously woke up. Everyone envied my good luck. The whole family of the richest man credited the merit to me. My parents were also happy for me. Only Jamie was so jealous that her eyes turned red. In a fit of anger, she also found a rich man to marry. But unexpectedly, she met a bad person. Her husband was a fake rich man. He not only cheated her of money and sex but also often beat her at home. The more she thought about it, the angrier she became. She believed that I had taken away her identity as the young mistress of Lucian's family. So after she was almost beaten to death by her husband again, she drove and hit me to death. When I woke up again, I was reborn on the day when my family was facing bankruptcy. This time, she directly prevented my parents from drawing lots and took the initiative to choose to sacrifice herself. I knew that she was also reborn. I saw her kneeling on the ground. Even though she tried her best to hide it, she still couldn't hide the excitement in her eyes. She thought that if she married Lucian, she could live a superior life and be as glamorous as I was in my previous life. Fool. She had no idea what I had experienced in Lucian's family. She had no idea how disgusting and perverted Lucian's family members were. Jamie, are you sure? You should know that Lucian is a vegetative state. As a mother, she loves both daughters equally. My mother was still a bit reluctant and persuaded. I'm sure. Jamie said firmly again. Anyway, I'm just attending a third-rate university. My elder sister is attending a famous university. It would be too uneconomical to ask her to drop out of school and get married. Jamie has always had poor grades since childhood. The third-rate university was bought by the family with money. At this moment, when my parents heard her say so, they felt that Jamie had really grown up and become sensible. They nodded with relief. Since you asked for it voluntarily, your parents will fulfill your wish. Jamie, it's a pity for you. After getting her parents' consent, Jamie couldn't help but show a very proud smile. She also provocatively looked at me with her eyes. I pretended not to understand and showed an extremely grateful look to her. After all, next, it is indeed she who will go to enjoy the purgatory on earth for me. After confirming that Jamie would marry Lucian, Jamie became more and more arrogant at home. Since childhood, she has not been as loved by her parents as I am. Of course, this is also her own doing. She doesn't listen to her parents and doesn't like studying. She started having puppy love in the first year of junior high school and was called to the school by parents countless times. But she even almost eloped with someone later. She insisted on marrying the fake rich man Cole. My parents thought Cole was not good, but she didn't listen. After marriage, she kept asking her parents for money for Cole. She almost emptied the family's savings. My parents were extremely disappointed in her and finally ignored her directly. In my previous life, without the help of my parents, Jamie also came to me for money. Of course, I didn't give her money either. First, I also thought Cole was not reliable. Marrying her was just cheating her of money and sex. Second, although I seemed to be extremely glorious in Lucian's family, in fact, I couldn't use a penny of their family's money. But Jamie thought that I was jealous of her good fortune and deliberately didn't help her. Now that she has finally become the hero of the family, she immediately feels elated. Thinking that she will soon be the superior young mistress of Lucian's family, of course, she wants to vent all the grievances she suffered in her previous life. "I want to eat an apple," she said loudly to me. "Haley," I called the servant. "Sister, I want you to peel it for me," Jamie said domineeringly. I looked at her. She said naturally, "In order to prevent you from suffering, I resolutely married a vegetative person. Shouldn't you be nicer to me?" I picked up a fruit knife and peeled a sugar-hard apple for her. She was right. She was indeed going to suffer instead of me. And her good days are really numbered. "I'll be merciful." Jamie glanced at me. Her face was very ugly. "You give me the whole apple. How can I eat it? Do you want to choke me to death?" I want it in pieces. I remained silent and cut it into small pieces for her. "Feed me," she ordered again. I put a small piece into her mouth with a small fork. As soon as she ate it, she spat it out and spat all over my face. I haven't got angry yet. Instead, she accused me first. "Mom, my elder sister deliberately gave me a bad apple to eat. Does she want me to die?" I rolled my eyes speechlessly. At this moment, my parents just got off work and came home. During this period, they were indeed a bit more indulgent to Jamie. Different from before, they almost obeyed her every wish. My mother comforted her, "Your elder sister must not have done it on purpose. Mom will buy you a new one. You have always favored my elder sister since childhood. Now I have sacrificed so much for the family, but you still favor her." Jamie was extremely angry. "You are both my own flesh and blood. How could I favor anyone? I am stricter with you usually for your own good. I don't care. My elder sister gave me a rotten apple. You must compensate me." "How do you want to be compensated?" "I want to buy that bag from Chanel. It's only 130,000. I saw my mother gasp. Now the family company has not yet overcome the difficulties. This 130,000 is undoubtedly a fatal blow to my parents. My parents explained a lot, but Jamie just wouldn't give in. My parents had no choice but finally agreed with gritted teeth. Jamie immediately showed a proud smile. After my parents left, she deliberately said to me, "Sister, don't be jealous." "I'm not jealous at all. I just watch you court disaster and then be deserted by everyone." After that, Jamie became more and more domineering at home. She must get whatever she wants. No matter what the situation of the family is now, she must have the best food, clothing, and supplies. I saw that the renewed favor of my parents for her was wearing off little by little. But Jamie didn't care at all. Anyway, she felt that she would have endless wealth and honor in the future and didn't need to rely on the family. In the future, our family will have to look at her face. But after all, she still has some fear of me. This is manifested in that she deliberately introduced me to Cole. So in this life, Jamie not only wants to take away my wealth and honor, but also wants me to repeat her mistakes and put all her tragedies on me. It's extremely disgusting. After being reborn, instead of improving her own ability and learning to be independent and self-reliant, she is full of bad thoughts and men. Even if reborn 100 times, she can't save the stupid her. I naturally refused Jamie's kindness. Jamie then cried and made a scene in front of my parents again, saying that I had made her lose face in front of her friends and insisted that my parents forced me to apologize to Cole. For such a long time, my parents were actually a bit impatient with Jamie. But considering Jamie's sacrifice for this family, they had been enduring it. Jamie became more and more proud and insisted that my parents give her an explanation. I couldn't bear it anymore. "I'll marry." The noisy hall suddenly fell silent. "Since younger sister thinks marrying Lucian is such a great sacrifice, then I'll marry him," I said loudly. "I am the elder sister. I should naturally take on the responsibility of an elder sister. Jamie's face turned pale in an instant. She probably didn't expect me to say such words. She thought she could manipulate me by marrying Lucian, but she didn't expect to be outmaneuvered by me. At this moment, Mom and Dad also didn't say a word. They were really impatient with Jamie's antics. Dad, Mom, go and tell Lucian's family that I will marry Lucian. Anyway, their family just wants a daughter-in-law. Anyone will do. I said again, very resolutely. No need. I'll marry. Jamie said excitedly and very sincerely. I'll marry. There's no need to wrong elder sister. I was firm in my attitude and deliberately said, younger sister is willing to sacrifice for the family. I am also willing. I knew Jamie couldn't possibly agree. She is crazy about wanting to marry Lucian. It's all my own will. Elder sister, don't compete with me. I don't feel wronged. I feel very proud to be able to contribute to the family. Jamie was in a state of panic, fearing that I was serious. Are you really not feeling wronged? I confirmed. Not at all. Since it's like this, then younger sister should not keep saying sacrifice for this family all the time. You will make us have a strong psychological burden. I will never say it again, Jamie quickly promised. Jamie finally calmed down and didn't dare to act recklessly relying on her contribution to this family anymore. Mom and Dad finally had a few quiet days, until Jamie finally got married to Lucian as she wished out on the day of her wedding. She said proudly in my ear, sister, from today on, in this life you can only envy me. I smiled, thinking secretly, Jamie, congratulations. You have officially stepped into the abyss. Jamie and Lucian's wedding was extremely grand even though Lucian didn't appear. In the previous life, Jamie was very jealous. From childhood to adulthood, Jamie is lazy and doesn't strive for progress. She is inferior to me in all aspects but can't bear me being better. When she came to the wedding, there was no smile on her face, but probably thinking that Lucian was a vegetative person, she felt a little more balanced and didn't cause any trouble. This life it's finally her turn. I can see that the smile on her face is almost impossible to hide. The wedding ceremony proceeded as usual. At the ceremony, Darren, the second young master of Lucian's family, held Lucian's photo and completed the ceremony on his behalf. The moment I saw Darren, I couldn't help but tremble all over. Images of him humiliating and whipping me involuntarily appeared in my mind. He made me kneel naked on the ground and bark like a dog. Audrey, what's wrong? My mom asked me beside me. Obviously seeing that my complexion was off. I lowered my eyes. Nothing. But the hand under the table had already clenched into a fist. My mom didn't think much about it. After all, the wedding ceremony had already begun. I forbearance suppressed the fear, disgust, and anger in my heart and looked at the two people on the stage. Looking at Darren's eyes seemingly casually resting on Jamie's body, and then a meaningful smile pulled at the corner of his mouth. I am all too familiar with such a smile. It's simply a beast. The master of ceremonies asked Jamie, are you willing to marry Mr. Lucian? I am willing. Jamie said firmly. Even if Lucian never wakes up for his entire life, I will be unwavering. My attitude towards marriage is that there is only widowhood, not divorce. Warm applause rang out throughout the venue. Everyone was moved by Jamie's vow. At first, people who came to the wedding were whispering that Jamie was only marrying the vegetative Lucian because she was attracted by money. Now everyone thinks that Jamie truly loves Lucian. Hearing everyone's applause, Jamie was very proud. She didn't notice at all how lewd and evil Darren's smile was after she said that sentence. After the wedding, Jamie happily left with Lucian's family. Looking at her overly happy appearance, I can only wish her good luck. On the way back, I received a message from Jamie. She couldn't wait for me to envy and be jealous of her, so today from time to time she would stimulate me. Seeing that I didn't react much, now she couldn't hold back again. Sister, do you know how good Lucian's family is to me? Not to mention how much effort they put into this wedding. You also saw Darren. As a rich second generation, he took very good care of me throughout. Did you take a few more glances at Darren today? Do you have a crush on him? Although he respects me very much, what status do our family have? Don't humiliate yourself. I just married into Lucian's family. Don't make me lose face. I put down my phone with a cold smile. So Jamie is still afraid that I will seduce Darren and that I will also marry into Lucian's family and enjoy her wealth and honor? Hilarious. If I remember correctly, tonight Darren will replace Lucian and consummate the marriage with Jamie, and it will be right on the big bed where Lucian is sleeping. And the more Jamie begs for mercy, the more excited Darren will be. This night is truly a bloodbath. Of course, this has nothing to do with me anymore. For me, the most important thing now is to make the company prosperous, because I know that when those two brothers have had enough of Jamie, they will immediately turn hostile. But in the previous life, before that time came, I was killed by Jamie. In this life, of course I have to plan ahead. And also, pay back in blood. I will not let go of anyone who has bullied me. According to traditional customs, on the second day of the wedding, the bride is supposed to return to her parents' home. Since Lucian is still a vegetative person, naturally Jamie comes back alone. After she returns home, her complexion is obviously very bad. The way she walks is not quite right. After she returns home, the look in her eyes when she looks at me is as if she wants to cut me into 1,000 pieces. I pretended not to notice and warmly entertained her together with Mom and Dad. Jamie naturally didn't say out her grievance. The road was chosen by herself. She doesn't want to slap herself in the face so soon, and moreover, she still has expectations for Lucian. She thinks that when Lucian wakes up after a month, she will be able to get rid of Darren's perversion and enjoy great love and wealth. But what she doesn't know is that Lucian is even worse than Darren. Jamie stayed at home for a day and was reluctant to leave until Darren came to pick her up in person. The moment Darren came to the house, I saw that Jamie's face turned pale. Mom and Dad were very enthusiastic towards him. In front of outsiders, not only Darren, but also Lucian in the past was like a person favored by heaven. They are always polite and very popular with elders. Darren said politely, "Auntie, don't bother. I came to pick up my sister-in-law on my parents' orders. They are worried if she goes back alone too late. Our in-laws are really good to our Jamie." My parents sighed sincerely. Jamie didn't dare to speak. Darren smiled and said, "Jamie married my elder brother and is now a member of our Lucian's family. Auntie, don't worry. Our whole family will treat her very well. Then Jamie will be in your care." Darren nodded and said to Jamie, "Sister-in-law, let's go." I saw that Jamie's face turned even paler and her body was trembling uncontrollably. She suddenly looked at me and introduced to Darren, "This is my twin sister. She is a top student. She has a good figure and is also very beautiful." Darren took a look at me and greeted me politely. "Hello," I responded. Coldly. Jamie still wanted to say something. I quickly spoke up, "Jamie, Darren came specially to pick you up. Don't keep him waiting too long. Hurry back." Both parents also urged her. Jamie gritted her teeth, gave me a fierce glare, and left. Of course, I knew what bad intentions she was hiding. Sure enough, soon I received a message from Jamie, "Sister, don't say that your younger sister is not good to you. After marrying into a wealthy family, I won't help you anymore. Today I deliberately introduced you to Darren. You also know how popular Darren is. If you are interested in him, I will help you create opportunities." I replied, "No, I am not blessed to enjoy such great wealth. It's better for my younger sister to enjoy it well. Jamie wants me to be her scapegoat and get rid of Darren." Hilarious, not to mention that I can't be tricked by her. Darren also has a quirk. He only likes women who belong to his elder brother. He is not interested in other women. Later, Jamie also sent me many messages, boasting about Darren's goodness in various ways. I just pretended not to see them, and I was really busy. In addition to studying, I also began to help my parents manage the company together. Only then did I realize why the company had been poorly managed in the previous life. Because the company's business direction was all wrong and it was still engaged in traditional offline sales. This also led to me being controlled by Lucian's family all the time in the previous life. After entering the company, I immediately transformed the company and became one of the first batch of companies to do online live streaming. At a time when live streaming was not so popular, I attracted attention and traffic by relying on handsome men and beautiful women. After fierce competition, I became a live streamer myself. I used bilingual to talk about poetry and distant places in the live streaming room and became a clear stream in the live streaming industry. The company soon got on the right track under my leadership and developed rapidly. At that time, half a year had passed. Lucian had naturally woken up long ago. As in the previous life, after Lucian woke up unexpectedly, Lucian's family took all the credit and gave it to Jamie. They gave Jamie many priceless jewelry and bags and spoiled her. Wherever Jamie went, she was envied by others. She was also very arrogant. As soon as Lucian woke up, she went home and deliberately showed off in front of me. Lucian's family all say that I am a lucky star. They say that if it weren't for me, Lucian wouldn't wake up so soon. I was originally worried that Lucian wouldn't like me. After all, we didn't fall in love freely. He didn't know me before and I was afraid he would resist. But who knew that after he woke up, he fell in love with me at first sight. So people still have to be kind. Just because I am kind enough and take the initiative to sacrifice myself for this family, can I have such a good life? I just listened and didn't have a big reaction. Seeing that I didn't show an envious or jealous expression, she sarcastically said, "Sister, are you jealous of me? Now seeing that I finally live a good life, are you deliberately not giving me a good look? Who told you to be so selfish and reluctant to sacrifice yourself?" I rolled my eyes and got up and wanted to go back to my room to do my own things. I wasn't supposed to be at home today. It was because my parents said that Jamie was coming back. As her elder sister, I still had to entertain her. "Audrey, don't ask me for help in the future," Jamie said fiercely when she saw that I ignored her. "You also know my status in Lucian's family now. You also know how wealthy Lucian's family is. If you encounter any problems in the future, don't come to me. Okay?" I agreed immediately and said to Jamie, "Then don't come to me for help if you have any problems in the future." Hilarious. When Jamie heard what I said, she laughed exaggeratedly. "Sister, don't you see what status I am now and what status you are? Do you think it's possible for me to come to you for help? Then it's a deal." I was too lazy to talk nonsense with her. "Audrey, since you have said so much, let's make things clear face to face." I frowned and looked at her. "What, make things clear?" Jamie said righteously, "Originally, I am now living a life of superiority. I also want to help you. After all, with Lucian's family assets, our family can't catch up for several generations. And you are my only elder sister. I kindly want you to have a better life. I also deliberately introduced Darren to you. You not only don't appreciate it but also are so sarcastic to me. Today, in front of our parents, let's make it clear that no matter what happens to you in the future, don't come to me. Similarly, I won't come to you for help. And you are also not allowed to look for Lucian. Lucian is my husband. All his things are mine." I laughed when I heard this. At this moment, I finally understood. Jamie said so much just because she was afraid that I would have an affair with Lucian. In the previous life, at least in front of outsiders, Lucian was extremely good to me. Is she afraid that Lucian will take a fancy to me again? Lucian has just woken up. After sleeping for so long, his body needs to recover. So she still doesn't know Lucian's perversion now. She only knows that Lucian has no resistance to her at all. Nonsense. Who would refuse a prey that comes to your door? Sister, can't you be so shameless? Snatching your own younger sister's man? When Jamie saw that I didn't promise immediately, she became very excited. I was really amused by Jamie's overbearing logic. "How perverted are you?" Jamie scolded. "Only those who are psychologically perverted will think that others are the same." I retorted. "You. I have never had such an idea. I wish you and Lucian could be locked together forever." I said word by word. "Then swear that you have no improper thoughts about Lucian. Otherwise, you will die a terrible death." "Why should I swear for you?" "If you don't swear, you are guilty. Do you really think that everyone in the world is as despicable, shameless, and without bottom line as you? I have morality. Unlike you, with incorrect values." "Audrey, that's enough." Jamie was exposed by me and broke down. When Mom and Dad saw us quarreling, they quickly acted as peacemakers. "What's wrong with you? It's not easy for Jamie to come back. Don't quarrel. We are all family." "She and I are not family." Jamie was extremely angry. "Today I will sever the sister relationship with her." "Jamie, if you try to stop me, I will sever the parent-child relationship with you." Don't forget, our family's company can still survive now only because of Lucian's family and only because of me. Mom and Dad were made very embarrassed by what Jamie said. Although this is indeed the case, selling one's daughter for prosperity is disgraceful everywhere. There are also people around who talk about Mom and Dad's behavior. Mom and Dad are not without sadness in their hearts, but for this family business, they can only hold on. After all, it is the painstaking effort of several generations. They don't want to destroy it in their own hands. Besides, Grandpa is still lying in the hospital. Once the economic source is cut off, the family can't afford Grandpa's expensive medical expenses and can only watch Grandpa die helplessly. So in the previous life, I was also willing to sacrifice for the family, but when it comes to Jamie, this has become her capital to do whatever she wants in this family. We don't need to involve Mom and Dad in our affairs. I don't want to make things difficult for them. At this time, I haven't fully developed the company yet. At least I can't surpass Lucian's family. I said, I sever the sister relationship with you. Then fine. From now on, we have no relationship. No matter what happens to me or what happens to you, we have nothing to do with each other. Otherwise, we will be struck by lightning. Okay. I agreed immediately. Jamie smiled smugly. After all, she achieved 2 goals today. One is not to allow me to have any intersection with Lucian. The second is to sever the relationship with me. In the future, she can naturally enjoy her splendor and wealth alone. Suddenly, I really want to see how miserable she will be on the day she regrets it. For some time after that, Jamie didn't come back again. But news about her can often be seen in the news. Lucian recovers rapidly. His wife Jamie accompanies him for a walk and never leaves his side. Lucian takes his beloved wife Jamie to various shopping malls and spends lavishly to make his wife smile. Lucian celebrates Jamie's birthday and gives her a seaside mansion worth hundreds of millions. They party day and night. I sat in the office and couldn't help clenching my fist. In my previous life, I almost died in the seaside villa. The so-called day and night really means day and night, all the time. Lucian and Jamie showed affection in the media for a full half a year. Today, after I finished overtime work and returned home. As soon as I walked into the house, I felt something was wrong. I saw Lucian sitting on my sofa. My parents were warmly entertaining him. Jamie was sitting obediently next to Lucian. I had never seen her so well behaved since childhood. Now she looked a bit cautious. In fact, Lucian is not the first time to come to my house. But every time I deliberately avoided the time to meet them. This time, it was so sudden and no one told me. Audrey is back. My mother quickly called me over. This is Lucian. Your sister has been married to him for so long. Haven't you met him yet? Get to know each other. I looked at Lucian. Lucian also looked at me with great interest. He deliberately grinned and said, Sister is really a busy person. Every time I come here, I hear that you are working overtime. How is the Cheen enterprise developing recently? Is there anything my family can do to help? Sister doesn't have to be so tired. For making money. I heard that you even become a live streamer to please others. It's really hard. Seeing Lucian's extremely hypocritical face again, I really wish I could tear it to pieces. Thinking of all that I experienced in my previous life, I chuckled slightly. It's okay. You can't rely on others for a lifetime. Sister, don't be brave. We are a family now. If you need anything, just ask. Lucian said generously. Okay. I don't want to waste words with him either. I still have some things to do. I'll go back to my room first. You can talk slowly. After leaving a sentence, I went upstairs directly. Looking at Lucian one more time makes me feel sick. After returning to the study, I have been dealing with work matters. Until I heard the sound of argument from the next room. I want a divorce from Lucian. I don't want to go back to his home anymore. I don't want to. It was Jamie's crying voice. Did you quarrel with Lucian? Husband and wife quarrel at the bedside and make up at the end of the bed. Don't be so childish. Lucian is so good to you. What silly things are you saying? My mother advised her. He is not good to me at all. He is a pervert. He? Enough. Since childhood, you have always been impulsive. My mother was a bit impatient. First, Jamie brought it on herself. My mother had no trust in her at all. Second, Lucian has been showing affection all this time. How could she believe that Lucian is not good to Jamie? I heard the sound of the door opening and closing. It should be that my mother left directly. I chuckled slightly, a bit gloating. Suddenly, the door of the study was rudely pushed open. Jamie just saw the smile at the corner of my mouth. With red eyes, she looked at me fiercely. Audrey, did you do it on purpose? Did you know it earlier? I don't know what you are talking about. I pretended to know nothing. You know Lucian is not a good person, but you still want me to marry him. How can you be so malicious? Jamie roared, and the whole person was obviously very collapsed. I pretended to be surprised. Is Lucian not good? Isn't he very doting on you? Buying you so many jewels, luxury cars and mansions. Everyone envies you. What else are you dissatisfied with? Are you laughing at me? Jamie couldn't stop screaming. Where did I laugh at you? I sincerely bless you. But you said before that don't let me get close to Lucian and don't let me ask you for help. So I had to stay far away from you. I said regretfully. You. Jamie was so angry by what I said that she was about to explode. Tears were about to come out. She still wanted to say something. Jamie, where are you? Let's go home. Suddenly, Lucian's voice came from outside. I saw Jamie's whole body trembling. Her fear of Lucian was definitely from the inside out and couldn't be stopped. After a while, Lucian appeared in my study and naturally put his arm around Jamie. Baby, let's go. Jamie's face turned pale. She looked at me fiercely but didn't dare to resist a bit in front of Lucian. She knew that the more she resisted, the worse the consequences would be. After Jamie and Lucian left, I didn't think much of them. If it weren't for that night when Jamie suddenly called me and said that she was drunk and couldn't go home and asked me to pick her up. Hilarious. In this new life, can I still be as stupid as her and fall for her tricks? I directly refused. Jamie, don't forget what you said. We sisters have severed relations. You don't ask me for help and I don't ask you for help. Audrey, do you want to see me die? Suddenly, there was her collapse roar from the other end. I ignored her and hung up the phone directly. That night, the media took pictures of Jamie being sent to the emergency room late at night. Lucian came out to respond to the reporters in person, saying that Jamie was greedy and ate a little too much and had some indigestion. He was just worried and sent her to the hospital. The next day, Lucian's image of a doting husband reached a new peak and no one questioned it. Of course, I know this is all an illusion. It has nothing to do with me and I don't need to care about it. But I didn't expect that a few days later, countless malicious comments suddenly appeared in my live streaming room. The live streaming room that has always been full of good reviews. Suddenly, everyone was complaining that my products had problems. They said that they had diarrhea after eating the hot and sour noodles I sold and even made posts everywhere to smear me. The sales of my live streaming room plummeted. Every day, people came to scold me as a heartless merchant. I know very well that this matter is by no means simple. Sure enough, I received a call from Jamie. She said, Audrey, do you really think you can revive the company by yourself? In front of Lucian's family, you are simply vulnerable. I knew it was Lucian's family who did it. I also know what they are up to. Today is Lucian's birthday. Insidious. You'd better come earlier. Otherwise, just wait for the Chin family to go bankrupt. After leaving a sentence, Jamie hung up the phone. My hand holding the phone was trembling uncontrollably with anger. In my previous life, when I was tortured by Lucian, this pervert, I never thought of dragging anyone down. But Jamie not only can't bear me being better than her, but also can't bear being worse off than me. In the evening, I still went. When I arrived, Jamie was kneeling on the ground and pouring wine for Lucian. She was extremely humble. It was completely different from the affection rumored outside. Inside, besides Lucian and Darren, there were also their fair-weather friends and their respective female companions. It was in a mess. Here? Lucian put his foot on Jamie's back as she was kneeling on the ground unhurriedly, treating her like an animal. Jamie didn't dare to resist at all. Aren't you quite arrogant? Lucian smiled obscenely. Now do you know that just one of my fingers can make you and your family bankrupt? So all the malicious comments in my live streaming room were all done by you? I asked him fiercely. Lucian shrugged and didn't need to hide it at all, just a small trick. Why, are you angry? Why did you do this? Lucian suddenly kicked Jamie over. Jamie slammed into the coffee table next to her but didn't dare to make a sound. I saw Lucian get up unhurriedly and walk up to me. He lifted my chin. "What do you think, Audrey?" The two words Audrey almost made me lose control and slap him directly in the face. Every time he called my nickname, it was when he was the most perverted. "Your sister's taste is really much worse than yours. I got tired of it in just half a year," Lucian said obscenely. "It's still you who haunts me. That's enough." I took several steps away from Lucian and kept a distance from him. Lucian didn't care either. He said, "Don't pretend, Audrey. Don't you think I don't know? You are just like me." The word reborn was not uttered by him. After all, there are still other people here. In fact, I also know that he has been reborn. At the first sight of him, I could tell from his eyes. "You also know my means. Be obedient, otherwise tomorrow you will see the news of Audrey Group's bankruptcy." In the previous life, Lucian had always threatened me like this, making me have to submit to him. Come and play. Lucian didn't want to waste too much time on me at all. He thought that a few words from him could make me give in. I sneered and turned around to walk outside. Lucian suddenly grabbed me and threw me hard on the sofa. "You refuse a toast only to drink a forfeit. Everyone, come at her." I saw several men approaching me. From the gap, I saw the evil smile on Jamie's mouth. She couldn't wait for me to suffer even worse than what she had endured in her life. And at that moment, suddenly, the door was pushed open forcefully. "Police!" Several people suddenly rushed in. "Stand up all of you." The scene was a bit chaotic. Everyone was looking for clothes. Lucian was not in a hurry at all. He walked up to the police. "Do you know who I am?" "I don't care who you are. Now someone has reported that you are engaging in group promiscuity. Everyone must go to the police station for investigation." "Are you kidding me? I am Lucian, the eldest young master of the Lucian family. Don't you want to live?" Lucian didn't take the police seriously at all. "Cuff them all up," the police ordered. Lucian cursed and punched the police directly in the face. Assaulting a police officer makes the crime even worse. The police suddenly gave a shoulder throw and subdued Lucian. Lucian fell to the ground in a mess and cried out in pain. "Let me go. You will all regret treating me like this." Lucian didn't know that everything he did now was being live-streamed across the whole network. Learn from mistakes. In my previous life, I also secretly recorded a video and took evidence to report the case. In the end, it all came to nothing and I was completely retaliated against by Lucian. This time, of course I won't be so stupid again. When I came, I expected everything. So I installed a mini camera on my body and asked the information technology department of the company to conduct a live stream in real time. Now people all over the country know what he has done. Even if he has great abilities, he can't escape. Under the witness of the whole network, Lucian was sentenced to 5 years in prison. Darren was sentenced to 3 years in prison. And those so-called friends of his were more or less sentenced. Naturally, Jamie wasn't. She is still a victim. After the sentencing, I went to the prison to see Lucian. Lucian had his head shaved, but he didn't show any sign of repentance at all. He said firmly, "Audrey, do you really think this move of yours can defeat me? You are thinking too much. When I get out of prison in 5 years, I can still make your life a living hell." "Really?" I sneered. Coming to see him today is certainly not out of kindness. But to bring him some good news. I took out the news of this period and put it in front of him. "Because of your group promiscuity, the stock of Henry Group has been continuously falling. In just half a year, 2/3 of its market value has evaporated." Lucian's face became very ugly. But he didn't collapse yet. I continued, "The chairman of Henry Group is suspected of corruption, accepting bribes, and tax evasion. He was administratively detained a week ago." Panic began to show on Lucian's face. I said unhurriedly again, "The wife of the chairman of Henry Group couldn't bear a series of blows and was sent to the hospital due to a cerebral hemorrhage. At present, her life and death are unknown." Lucian was about to lose control. I smiled obviously and told him word by word, the latest news today. "Your father's little secretary, that is, your father's little lover, has taken away all the remaining money of Henry Group today and run away. That is to say, Henry Group has now become an empty shell and will soon declare bankruptcy. Don't you know how it feels to have your family ruined? Is it pleasant? Lucian finally couldn't help but go crazy. Impossible. You are lying to me. With such a large family business of the Lucian family, how could it go bankrupt just like that? The money in our family can't be spent up in several lifetimes. Yes, if your family's money is spent normally, it really can't be spent up in several lifetimes. But unfortunately, there are you and Darren, two prodigal sons. I sarcastically said, your family is in such a state now, and it's all because of you. Shut up. Shut up for me. Audrey, when I get out of prison, I will definitely kill you. Lucian was flushed with anger. The prison guard beside him pressed his head on the table. His appearance of exposed veins and being unable to resist is really satisfying. I looked at him like watching a joke and said in his ear, it depends on whether you can live until that time. What do you mean? Literally. I smiled coldly. After saying that, I got up and prepared to leave. Then I turned around and said to him, by the way, I forgot to tell you. A few days ago, a new list of the richest people in the city was released. Audrey Group ranked first. I saw Lucian's eyes instantly become bloodshot. Naturally, it was due to excessive shock and he couldn't accept it. I turned and left. Only the sound of the prison guard scolding behind me was heard. Don't move. Behave yourself. As if hearing Lucian begging for mercy. Don't hit me anymore. I won't move anymore. Please don't hit me. Lucian should never have thought that he would have such a day, right? Who says the pleasure of revenge is not enjoyable? When I came back from the prison and just got home, I heard Jamie's voice. She is really thick-skinned. After Lucian was arrested, Jamie didn't mean to leave Lucian's family either. When the news broke out, my parents asked Jamie to divorce Lucian. After all, she is their own daughter, and they still feel sorry for her. But Jamie didn't. She thought that after these two demons, Lucian and Darren, were imprisoned, she would have a good life in Lucian's family. With such a large family business of Lucian's family, she would have endless money. My parents were so anxious that they scolded her a few words. She also said that her parents couldn't bear to see her well and wanted to cut off relations with them. I guess she still always thought that without the financial support of Lucian's family, our family would soon go bankrupt. And Lucian and Darren were sent to prison by me personally. The people of Lucian's family would definitely hold a grudge. In order not to implicate her, she directly showed her stance first. As a result, in a few months, it was Lucian's family that went bankrupt. So she came back shamelessly again. When Jamie saw me, she quickly greeted me attentively. Sister. Don't call me sister. We have cut off relations. Don't you remember? Sister, that's all in the past. You are magnanimous and won't care about my immaturity, right? Jamie acted coquettishly to me. I really felt psychologically uncomfortable. I couldn't control it, so I really retched. Jamie's face was obviously a bit embarrassed. Of course, I wouldn't give her a good look either and said bluntly, you said it clearly at that time. We have nothing to do with each other. Otherwise, we will be struck by lightning. You are not afraid of death, but I am. I'm still afraid of death. Sister. Jamie elongated her ending sound and tried to please me. Also, I am only 15 minutes older than you. We are of the same age. Don't act young in front of me. I don't fall for your tricks. It's a bit disgusting. Jamie was flushed red by what I said. Fifth aunt, see the guest out. After I gave the order, I added, in the future, when idlers come knocking on the door, don't open it. Yes. The servant quickly came over and said to Jamie, Miss Cheen, this way please. Jamie's eyes were red. She knew she couldn't please me. She quickly cried to my parents. Dad, Mom, Sister wants to drive me away. You have to help me. I saw a trace of hesitation in my parents' eyes. Finally, my mother said firmly, this family really doesn't welcome you. You should leave quickly and don't come again in the future. Jamie widened her eyes. She didn't expect that her parents would be so heartless to her. I am your own daughter. How can you treat me like this? Jamie screamed. Didn't you take the initiative to cut off relations with us? My mother said coldly. When you were doing well, you didn't take our whole family seriously. Now when you are having a hard time, you come to us. Do you really think we are suckers? But if I hadn't sacrificed myself and married Lucian back then, our family would have gone bankrupt long ago. Would it still be Audrey's turn to manage the company? I don't know why you volunteered to marry Lucian back then. The only thing I can be sure of is that you definitely didn't do it for our family. My mother said word by word. Jamie couldn't find a reason to defend herself for a long time. Fifth sister-in-law, see the guest out. My mother issued an order to expel the guest out. I won't leave. This is my home. I won't leave. Jamie played tricks. I directly asked several servants at home to carry her out. After Jamie left, my mother specifically reminded me, from now on, don't care about anything Jamie asks you to do. A white-eyed wolf that can't be tamed is not worth having. Jamie successfully made herself be deserted by all. At first, I was still worried that my parents would be soft-hearted. Sure enough, if it is a disaster caused by nature, it can still be avoided. If it is a disaster caused by oneself, there is no escape. I thought that after Jamie was abandoned by our whole family, she should be peaceful. Unexpectedly, Jamie opened a live streaming room by herself and complained online about our family's ingratitude to her. She said that in order to prevent our family from going bankrupt, she was forced to marry Lucian, who was in a vegetative state. After Lucian woke up, he was a pervert and tortured her in various ways. In order to protect the family business, she could only endure humiliation. Now that Lucian has finally been imprisoned, Lucian's family members have got their due end. The family business has developed again. But our family began to dislike her for being unclean and kicked her out. Jamie's live streaming room is very popular. Almost as soon as it goes online, there are directly more than 100,000 viewers. Everyone is feeling aggrieved for Jamie. Our whole family has been cyberbullied. Naturally, the Audrey group has also been affected, and the stock price has been falling. In my live streaming room and the company's live streaming room, countless netizens come to curse. I take the initiative to call Jamie. Jamie doesn't answer at all, including my parents' calls. She took advantage of this wave of traffic to sell miserably and bring goods in the live streaming room and made a lot of money. I guess she is still very proud. She actually thought of such a good way to retaliate against us. It not only made herself earn money but also made us uncomfortable. Killing two birds with one stone. However, my patience has also reached its limit. I thought that as long as she didn't cause trouble again in this life and lived her own life peacefully and didn't provoke me, the days when she was tortured after marrying Lucian would be regarded as my punishment for her in her previous life. Some people will only push their luck. At the time when her live streaming room was most popular today, I posted several videos on my short video account. The first video is when Mom and Dad embarrassedly let us choose to marry Lucian. Jamie volunteered. The second video is after Jamie was arrogant and domineering at home. I said that I would marry Lucian and she didn't need to marry. She firmly insisted on marrying Lucian. The third section is Jamie cutting off relations with me and cutting off relations with Mom and Dad. The fourth section is a voice message. Jamie asked me to go to Lucian's birthday. The fifth section is at the birthday party. When I was bullied by Lucian, Jamie had a malicious and triumphant smile. After all, at that time, everyone's attention was on Lucian. No one noticed that fleeting picture. And I deliberately enlarged and slowed down the picture. As soon as all the videos came out, the truth was obvious. Jamie is still selling miserably in the live streaming room. You don't know what kind of life I live in the Chin family. Mom and Dad have always liked my sister since I was a child and have never liked me. When I was a child, I always wore my sister's leftover clothes and ate the meals that my sister didn't like. Netizen 1, don't lie. We already know your true face. Jamie frowned when she saw this comment. I know you don't believe that such a thing can happen in this society. If I hadn't experienced it myself, I wouldn't believe it either. Netizen 1, enough, how long are you going to pretend? Return the goods, return the goods. Jamie was a little angry. Since you can't empathize with human suffering, then my live streaming room is not welcome to you. Please leave. Netizen 2, how thick-skinned must one be to say such disgusting words? Netizen 3, it's so disgusting. I actually bought a lot of things in her live streaming room. In fact, after receiving these things, the quality is extremely poor. Netizen 4, I didn't dare to say it before. I thought it was paying for suffering. But I didn't expect that I was actually cheated alive. Netizen 5, I ate the spiced chicken feet she sold yesterday and vomited and had diarrhea. I seriously suspect that it is a product without 3 guarantees. Jamie's live streaming room is full of curses. At first, Jamie would still explain. Later, it was obvious that she couldn't control the situation. She couldn't control her temper and retorted, "Buy if you want, and leave my live streaming room if you don't want to buy." Netizen 6 finally stopped pretending. This is her true face. Disgusting, disgusting, disgusting. Netizen 7, it is recommended that relevant departments strictly inspect the products she sells. There must be problems. Netizen 8, waiting for the inspection results. Jamie finally knew what happened under the reminder of her little assistant. Jamie's face changed drastically in an instant. She hurriedly turned off the live streaming. Then she immediately called me, "Audrey, you are so vicious. You actually secretly took so many videos." I just laughed when I heard it. I am vicious? I call this self-defense. If I hadn't been reborn and prepared in advance, wouldn't I have been killed by you again? You were also reborn? I knew it, Audrey. I knew you were taking revenge on me. It was you who designed step by step to make me fall into the trap. Jamie was extremely collapsed. I didn't design it. All the paths are chosen by yourself. Let's put it this way. If you didn't bite me and mom and dad back, I wouldn't take out these videos. At least let you live a normal life. Do you think I will believe you? Jamie said fiercely. Otherwise, when Lucian was arrested, I would have made these videos public. Jamie was speechless by what I said. Only to say, those who do evil will not escape punishment. I sneered and said unhurriedly, "Jamie, if I'm not mistaken, next your live streaming room will face a large number of returns. Because you signed a bet agreement with the manufacturer, if you can't complete the sales volume in one live streaming, you will lose everything. Secondly, you have participated in the sales behavior of products without 3 guarantees, which has constituted a criminal offense. The police will soon come to your door. Finally, I have learned for you that if the sales volume of selling products without 3 guarantees reaches more than 2 million, you will be sentenced to fixed-term imprisonment of 15 years. Counting it, the sales volume of your live streaming room is far more than 2 million. Audrey. Jamie screamed wildly. Congratulations, you will be imprisoned for a long time. I will kill you, I will kill you. Jamie's mentality completely collapsed. Jamie threatened to kill me, and it was not just talk. Early the next morning, I found a suspicious vehicle following me. Hilarious. Having been reborn, can I still let her succeed with the same trick? I have been practicing driving skills hard since I was reborn. I knew there would be such a day. I frowned. I stepped on the accelerator directly to the bottom. Jamie followed behind me. When she saw me speeding up, she also chased after me crazily. At that moment, I suddenly made a drift and a sharp turn. I passed by the big truck in front. But Jamie couldn't brake or turn in time at all. She directly hit the big truck at the fastest speed. Under the violent impact, Jamie's front of the car was completely destroyed. Jamie was also lucky enough not to die. She was just paralyzed all over. She could only spend the rest of her life in bed. I went to see her. She still looked excited and angry when she saw me, but she could do nothing. This is really more uncomfortable than her death. I looked down at her sarcastically and said, "Even if reborn, a fool is still a fool. Enjoy your incomplete and stupid second half of life." I saw Jamie finally couldn't help crying loudly. I don't know if she regrets it or is unwilling. Anyway, it doesn't matter anymore. I left the hospital. I won't come again in the future. My parents didn't even come once. When I told them that Jamie had an accident, they were on vacation abroad. They just said lightly, "It's all her own fault. People live a lifetime. It's really sad to live like Jamie." I looked up at the blue sky and white clouds. My mood was indescribably open and comfortable. Next, it's time for me to enjoy the beautiful life that I didn't enjoy in my previous life. I lost the dare, and my boyfriend forced me to eat from the bowl of a student from a poor family. What are you waiting for? Hurry up, I can't wait to see his furious reaction. Am I back 10 years ago? I approached the student from a poor family and took a piece of pickled radish and put it in my mouth. He looked up, his eyes cold and gloomy. Then, under the gaze of everyone, I put the sweet and sour ribs, braised pork, and everything else into his plate. This is compensation for eating your radish. I hope you don't mind. I looked at the future tech mogul with a smile. Hello, 17-year-old Ethan, I am Isabella from the same age. It happened to be the year when you were insecure, and it also happened to be the year when I was radiant. Isabella, you lost the dare. Go eat from his bowl, my childhood friend Noah urged, grinning. The wealthy friends around us all cheered and encouraged. Yeah, I'm also looking forward to seeing the aloof genius embarrassed and humiliated. What aloof genius? Just a lowly poor guy. He can only boast about his grades now. Once he's out in the real world, he'll be just another worker for us, ha ha ha. Hearing these derogatory comments about Ethan, I sneered. Birds of a feather flock together, and people are drawn to their own kind. This has always been the case throughout history. Even the simplest students have their own circles. Noah and I are childhood friends, having grown up in the same upscale neighborhood. Consequently, everyone we hung out with was either rich or noble. But I didn't like this circle. I had no choice, as my parents restricted my social interactions. Besides them, no one else would play with me. 10 years ago, under their encouragement, I picked a piece of pickled radish from Ethan's bowl and then placed the chocolate I carried with me by his side. That was the only interaction I had with him during my entire adolescence. Back then, he always walked with his head down, so low, it seemed like he would sink into the dust the next moment. In the 10 years since, I had long forgotten about such a person, until we met again at a sweet potato stall. However, by then, he had become a renowned tech mogul and a new aristocrat with immense power. As for me, due to my father's financial ruin and my husband's abandonment, I had become the biggest joke in Jiangcheng. Why go such a long way to buy this lousy sweet potato? A girl beside the stall complained, holding a new Hermes handbag. Hey, this isn't just any sweet potato. It's a golden sweet potato baked by Dream Tianjin. Mr. Zhou, is this really Miss Isabella? She looks like a woman in her 30s. Absolutely. After her father's incident, Noah didn't want her anymore, so she ended up like this. How tragic. Hearing them speak, the Hermes-clad woman walked up to me, wearing high heels. Boss, I'll take 10 more sweet potatoes. Make sure they're well baked, I'm buying them for my nanny and driver. I smiled ingratiatingly. Sure, miss, you are truly kind and beautiful. Hearing me call her miss, she was even happier. Make it 10 more. The man beside her pulled her back. Why are you buying so many? You can't even finish them. She grimaced in disdain. Why would I eat such low-class food? Low-class food. Once, I always liked to buy street food to feed stray cats, but never ate a bite myself. At that moment, the boomerang of my youth hit me right between the eyes. I pursed my lips and increased my pace in roasting the sweet potatoes. Let me help you. When Ethan appeared before me in a suit, I was stunned. He took the homeless me to his private villa. There was no imprisonment, no coercion, and no sexual undertone. He simply offered me a place to stay like a friend and helped me find a respectable job. I was very grateful and constantly thought about how to repay him, but I didn't know how. On several nights, when I went out for water, I would see Ethan standing by the large floor-to-ceiling windows, his pale fingers holding a lit cigarette. The moonlight spread coolly across the ground, and he was engulfed in a cold solitude. Many times, I wanted to hug him from behind, to comfort him, but I had neither the standing nor the right to do so. Some time passed. He indeed wanted nothing from me, and he lacked nothing. Perhaps bringing me home was just out of pity, like how I used to bring home stray cats and dogs. Until he became ill from overwork and developed cancer. He remembered my birthday and insisted I make a wish and blow out the candles by his bedside. He said a princess's birthday must have a sense of ceremony. Yes, later on, he always called me princess. Because of the illness, he had become so thin his eye sockets were hollow, no longer human-like. Even the hand holding the candles was pale, with prominent wrist bones. He struggled to force a smile. Princess H. Happy birthday. His voice was barely audible. I leaned my ear close to his mouth to hear the words. I looked at him with tears in my eyes, but he kept smiling at me. Hurry and blow out the candles. His gaze seemed to want to fix my face in his memory forever. Smiling and smiling, he closed his eyes. His hand holding mine instantly lost its strength, hanging by the bed. I felt the taste of sorrow, like trees and grass soaked in heavy rain, damp and painful. I trembled as I blew out the candles and closed my eyes to make a wish. Heaven, my birthday wish for my 27-year-old self is to return to when I was 17. Unexpectedly, my birthday wish really came true. When I opened my eyes again, I was indeed back to being 17, surrounded by my mischievous friends who were pushing me. Miss Isabella, what are you waiting for? Hurry up, I can't wait to see his furious reaction. They laughed maliciously towards Ethan's direction. The 17-year-old Ethan was sitting in a corner eating. The light was dim, and his silhouette was lonely, just like the 27-year-old him. Whether in poverty or in wealth, he always remained aloof. Seeing the young and healthy him again, my eyes filled with tears. I held my tray and walked confidently towards Ethan, who was eating the cafeteria's free pickled vegetables. He looked at me, wanting to make space for me to sit. In the already narrow spot, he shuffled further in. The large plate contained only rice, pickled radishes, pickled cabbage, and a bowl of pickled mustard green soup without any oil. At that moment, a piercing pain spread through my entire being. After he developed cancer, he could have fought a bit more with chemotherapy. But the doctor said his constitution was too weak due to malnutrition in his youth, which had left him with lasting health issues. Ultimately, he didn't even survive the second round of chemotherapy. Seeing him so emaciated and weak, my words got stuck in my throat. Can you? I'm trying to control my emotions, but I still can't finish what I want to say. He must think I'm crazy right now. I composed myself and said nothing more. Instead, under his surprised gaze, I took a piece of radish and put it in my mouth. It was salty and bitter, tasting like chewing wax. Ethan, I'm sorry I'm late. When I looked up, all I saw was his cold expression. Classmate, the pickled radishes are free, so please don't make such a boring joke. At this point, many students in the cafeteria had stopped eating and were looking our way, with a lot of discussion. Especially the table in front of us, which was the loudest. Haha, Miss Isabella is really something, daring to provoke the aloof genius. Only you high school classmates call him a genius. His nickname in elementary and middle school was Disaster Star. Ah, why was he called Disaster Star? Isn't it because he caused his own parents' deaths and, hearing Disaster Star, he clenched his fists, the veins on his pale skin bulging. Before the girl at the front table could finish, I stood up and said, Classmate, didn't your parents teach you not to gossip about others behind their backs? Not feeling satisfied, I added, You may have parents, but I see you don't have much upbringing. The girl I confronted didn't dare to provoke me and could only mumble, Did she take the wrong medicine? Wasn't she the one who used to tease Ethan? I was even angrier. I was about to step out to have a word with her when I felt a cold touch on my hand. It was Ethan holding me back. Sit down and eat. His tone was calm, and his expression had returned to tranquility. Sitting down, I put all the sweet and sour ribs, braised pork, and other dishes from my bowl into his plate under everyone's watchful eyes. I smiled ingratiatingly, This is compensation for eating your radish. I hope you don't mind. Oh, by the way, even though we've been classmates for so long, it seems we've never properly met. Hello, 17-year-old Ethan, I am 17-year-old Isabella. I flashed a bright smile and extended a friendly hand to him. My words came out in a rapid-fire manner as he stared blankly at my moving lips. I'm full. After a moment of silence, he threw down those words and left, leaving me stunned. And the chocolate, which had almost melted from my grip, still unfulfilled in its delivery. In my previous life, although I felt this was wrong, I still listened to Noah and put many dishes in Ethan's bowl. Because of my disdain, I didn't eat any of it myself. Later, out of guilt, I gave him a piece of chocolate when I left. Noah even mocked, saying that would be the best thing Ethan would ever eat in his life. But 10 years later, when I was organizing Ethan's study, I saw that chocolate again on his desk. He had placed it under a delicate glass cover, filled with special gas to prevent decay. At that moment, countless thoughts flashed through my mind, and a torrent of emotions surged. The chocolate in my palm revealed a secret he had hidden away. But now, the disparity in our social status and the vast differences forced me to suppress all my thoughts. After all, it was just a piece of chocolate. Can it really mean anything? I was no longer a rich young lady, so what right did I have to walk beside him? Ha ha ha, Isabella, you're too much, dumping the food you've eaten onto the disaster star. If you want to insult someone, miss, you're the best at it. Noah plopped down next to me. I looked at him in surprise. It turns out, in their eyes, my actions were seen as an insult to Ethan. Did Ethan think the same way? Ah, I'm such a fool, only thinking about making him eat better, but my way of expressing it was so uncomfortable. Theo sat on the other side and said slowly, but why did you help that disaster star just now? Those girls were right. Ethan caused the deaths of his own parents and his younger sister. If you get close to him, you'll end up in trouble sooner or later. Theo was also part of our circle. He was the principal's son, wielding considerable influence at school. His temper was volatile, and he often bullied classmates under the guise of playing a game. After my family fell from grace, Noah's attitude towards me did a complete turnaround overnight. He began urging me to get close to and curry favor with Theo, just to secure a big deal. But I was still foolishly hopeful about them. After all, we had been friends for so many years. Until that time when we went on a trip together, Noah went into the next room, and Theo entered mine. That's when I realized that our circle had long been rotten to the core. I gave Theo a disdainful look and retorted, so superstitious? Then why do you still do such despicable things? Aren't you afraid of being struck by lightning one day? Theo's face turned green with anger. Isabella, what did you say? Say it again if you dare. Seeing us at odds, Noah quickly intervened. No, Theo, she's just having a bad day today. Don't take it to heart. I shook off his disgusting hand. You're no better, rotten person. Both of them were stunned by my sharp rebuke. They seemed confused about why I suddenly appeared like a different person. Before they could react, I quickly returned to the classroom. I didn't want to stay in this rotten circle for another moment. When I got back to the classroom, the bell had already rung. I had no choice but to explain to Ethan later that I hadn't meant to put the food I had eaten into his bowl. This was my least favorite math class. Even though I had no interest in learning, I forced myself to pay attention. In my previous life, my lack of proficiency in certain subjects led to not attending a good university. After graduating, I ended up marrying Noah, relying on my father in the first half of my life and on my husband in the latter half. That's how people fall into ruin. So after leaving that circle, without any special skills or outstanding qualifications, I ended up selling sweet potatoes. Since heaven had given me another chance, I had to make the most of it. I kept my eyes wide open and listened intently for half the class. Unfortunately, friends may leave you, and husbands may betray you, but math will remain as it is. Because math problems are just problems. Listening to the math lesson felt almost like listening to an alien language. I sighed and looked around. My eyes settled on the left diagonal. The unfamiliar yet familiar figure sat upright, concentrating on the blackboard and occasionally jotting calculations on white paper. He was slim, with a pale, gaunt face, lacking in vitality, and a lingering pale greenish hue between his brows. Compared to the strong presence he had 10 years later, he was now somewhat inexperienced and insecure. Isabella. What are you staring at? Stand up and tell me. Lost in staring at Ethan, I was caught by the math teacher. I stood up calmly and said with a grin, I'm looking at Ethan. The class erupted in shock. Only Ethan continued to quietly solve problems, but his pale ears visibly reddened. My bold statement only made the teacher more furious. Come on, tell me, what exactly are you looking at? If you don't explain yourself, you won't leave until class is over. I smiled and said, he's good looking. This remark set the entire class ablaze. As expected, I was asked to leave the classroom. However, due to my father's status, other teachers quickly took me to the office and scolded me. After class, I eagerly went to find Ethan to explain the situation about the meal. He kept his head down, solving problems, and didn't look at me, simply replying, it's okay. I didn't think much of it. I breathed a sigh of relief, I'm glad you didn't misunderstand. He was unexpectedly easy to get along with. Why did I always find him so cold and difficult in the past? Seeing him still working on problems, I didn't want to disturb him further. I placed the chocolate I had on his desk, bent down, and smiled at him. This is my favorite chocolate, for you. He glanced at it, then returned to his book. thank you, but I don't eat chocolate. It's really good. Please, try it. I peeled off the chocolate's foil and stuffed it into his mouth. My fingertips brushed against his lips, sending a tingling sensation through my whole body. He looked at me in shock. I was stunned as well. Time seemed to freeze, he even forgot to chew. My face was burning, but with things already in motion, I steeled myself and said, "It's good, I'm not lying. I'll bring you one every day." With that, I hurriedly left. After school, Noah blocked my way home. I frowned at him. "What's up?" He crossed his arms and looked displeased. "What's wrong with you today? Why are you being so nice to the disaster star?" "I want to." "Why do you care?" He grabbed my shoulder. "Today, you offended Theo for Ethan. Theo will make Ethan his next target." "That's not right. He's crazy. If he's got something to say, he should come at me." Hearing Ethan's name made me anxious. Noah's eyes darkened as he pinched my chin, speaking slowly. "Isabella, you're not falling for this trash, are you?" I sneered with disdain. "I don't love him. Should I love someone like you, scum? Isabella." He was thoroughly enraged by my words. He pushed me against the wall and kissed me fiercely. Memories from the past flashed through my mind, and I felt sick. I pushed him away with force and slapped him across the face. "Noah, what are you doing?" He towered over me, using his strength to pin me between his arms. "What am I doing?" "I already told you, the girl you saw that day was my sister. You were deliberately trying to provoke me with Ethan, weren't you?" Wow, this scum, I was truly fed up with him. Just as I was about to give him a piece of my mind, I caught sight of a figure out of the corner of my eye. Ethan. He was holding a trash can and heading toward the classroom. As he passed by, his gaze fell on me and Noah. For just a second, he looked away nonchalantly and continued walking. My chest felt tight with pain. So, he wouldn't think that I was getting close to him just to irritate Noah, would he? I seized the opportunity and delivered a heavy blow to Noah's weak spot. Noah bent over in pain. "If you're sick, you should see a doctor." I threw the words at him and ran after Ethan. Ethan. After running for a while, I finally caught up with him. I grabbed his sleeve and explained, "I don't like Noah. He's a scumbag. He forced me to do that." Ethan kept walking, his long legs making his brisk pace equivalent to my run. As he walked, he replied, "Miss Isabella, I'm not interested in your relationship issues. You don't need to tell me. He's not my boyfriend." But then I remembered we hadn't officially broken up yet, so I added, "Although we haven't broken up yet, we will soon." He stopped and looked at me seriously. "Isabella, I have neither the interest nor the time to be your rich people's plaything. Please don't speak to me again." "Thank you." He nearly spat out the last two words. With that, he turned his back and walked away. His words felt like a bucket of cold water, drenching me from head to toe. I stood there for a while, feeling the setting sun burning my eyes. Why are there always so many misunderstandings between us? Why do we keep missing each other? It's fine, I comforted myself. I'm not a sweet potato seller anymore. So what if I'm rejected? I caught up with him again. But this time, it only led to his angry shout, "Don't follow me. Get lost." 10 years later, it was like going back to 10 years ago. In all our time together, it was the first time he had been this harsh with me. I looked at his fierce expression, momentarily at a loss. After a while, I forced a smile and said, "Then goodbye for now. We'll see each other tomorrow." Turning away, I had tears in the corners of my eyes and felt a tightness in my chest. For the next few days, I left chocolates on his desk. Of course, they were all thrown into the trash. I stared at the chocolates in the trash for a long time. Disappointment, sadness, helplessness. These emotions surged like the sea, enveloping me. It's okay. Misunderstandings can always be resolved. Because Theo announced that Ethan was the next target of his games, the entire class started to obstruct Ethan's work as the math class representative. Whenever Ethan went to collect homework, someone would deliberately drop it on the floor for him to pick up. So I took the initiative to help him collect it. When I placed the collected homework on his desk once more, he finally spoke, "Miss Meng, I've resigned from the class representative position. Please don't approach me again." The small flame of hope I had rekindled was extinguished. After a few seconds of silence, I stubbornly asked, "Why?" He looked up at me with a gaze that was unusually cold, and his thin lips spoke icily, because I dislike you. I didn't know how I made it back to my seat. That entire day, I was listless and dejected. I didn't understand why. Why is it still so difficult, even though I've gone back 10 years? Heaven, please tell me what I should do next? Isabella, come to my office. As I was feeling down, the appearance of my homeroom teacher caught my attention. The homeroom teacher was a young female teacher, and my mother often sent her branded handbags to get her to look after me. She kindly asked if I needed any help recently. I tearfully told her about my troubles. With money in place, things naturally fell into place. Teacher Chen's efficiency was high. Before the class bell rang, I was already sitting next to Ethan, and Noah's seat was miles away from us. He was so furious he was practically jumping up and down, but there was nothing he could do. Under the homeroom teacher's coercion and enticement, Ethan had no choice but to set aside his grievances with me and became my math tutor by default. Ethan taught perfunctorily, but I studied with utmost seriousness. In this second life, I truly didn't want to be someone who could only be supported by others. But math was still disgustingly difficult. Exceptional people are truly exceptional, like Ethan, who scores full marks every time. People who are incapable are truly incapable, like me, who has even scored in the single digits. Once again, I was stumped by what Ethan referred to as a gimme question. This type of problem, Mr. Wong has explained twice, and I've gone over it with you 3 times. If you still can't get it, I'd suggest you give up on math, he said, looking at me as if I were a fool. A surge of anger flared up in me. Ethan, I'm angry. Don't underestimate me. I will solve this problem today. Half an hour later, Ethan leaned over. In your anger, you've written down a solution. Ethan's eyes curved into a sparkle. It was the first time I saw him smile. Time seemed to freeze. My mind went blank as I stared at him. Perhaps my gaze was too intense, so he looked back at me. At the moment our eyes met, I averted my gaze, awkwardly saying, "They say when people are pushed to the edge, they can do anything. I guess math doesn't count." As soon as I finished speaking, Ethan laughed, and his ears turned red. Was he really that easily amused? Isabella, is this your reason for breaking up with me? Noah, enraged, threw all the books from my desk onto the floor. His voice was loud, drawing the attention of everyone else in the library. I glanced at him and said sharply, "What's wrong? Haven't you recovered yet? Did the hospital let you out?" His anger flared even more at my words, and he started shouting, disturbing other students who couldn't focus on their studies. Ethan spoke up to stop him. "Phoo, this is a place for studying. If you're not going to study, please leave." Studying? Do you think just because you read some books you can steal my girlfriend and beat me? My family's efforts over generations cannot be overshadowed by your 10 years of hard work. The future is still mine to control. Here he goes again, this brainless man and his arrogant speeches. I stood up and said slowly and deliberately, 10 years of hard work is nothing compared to 3 generations of your family's business. He smirked with a hint of disdain. "Oh? So, you've decided to stay with this poor guy?" I sneered, "That's laughable. What I do is none of your business. Are you still not satisfied with the last time? Now you want to cut off your future, right?" I challenged him, saying it with a fierce tone. Remembering the pain from last time, he immediately cowered. "Isabella, I'll go tell your parents. Just you wait." Haha, how ridiculous. With that, he walked away, tail between his legs. I picked up the books from the floor and returned to my studies. When Ethan seemed to want to say something to me, I spoke first. "The last incident was a misunderstanding. I didn't use you to provoke him. I have no relationship with him anymore. He said those things out of desperation. He forced me to kiss him. I was about to report him for harassment. So, please believe me, I really am not." I was so eager to clear up the misunderstanding that I was speaking in a jumbled manner. But before I could finish, he interrupted me. "I believe you." Huh? No need to explain. I believe you. Really? The moon in my heart seemed to rise again, and the stars shone brightly. Yes. Ethan seemed to remember something and hesitated for a moment before asking, "But why did you treat Noah like that?" Memories of being kicked out of my home and being insulted and beaten in the snow by him resurfaced in my mind. The lover I went from school uniform to wedding dress with treated me like this. At that time, I almost ended my life. I held back my sadness and replied, because he made my life hell. Huh? Ethan was surprised. But I couldn't and didn't want to let him know about these humiliating experiences. I could only laugh and change the subject. Also, the person I truly like is you. At this, Ethan indeed stopped pressing further and lowered his head to focus on his work, blushing. Seeing his disbelief, I suddenly had a thought, took his hand, and seriously confessed, Ethan, life is short. Let me be with you from now on, okay? He was stunned for a few seconds, quickly pulling his hand away, his neck flushed bright red. You should solve this problem first. My life will be a bit less. Reigniting my determination, I plunged into solving problems. Our relationship with Ethan gradually eased. He taught me math every day, and I brought him lunch every day. Auntie, for the blue thermos, please make more sweet and sour ribs, a bit sweeter. Also, make sure there's twice as much rice as usual. Aunt Mia, the housekeeper, smiled and nodded, okay. It seems Noah prefers a sweeter taste. Boys at this age eat the most. I'll make sure to pack extra for him. This isn't for Noah. Huh? Then who is it for? Oh, miss, don't worry. I won't say a word. I hugged her waist and said sweetly, hee, Aunt Mia is the best. The bird's nest in the blue thermos should also be doubled. He works hard studying and needs extra nourishment. Let's not let a grown man eat bird's nest. I've made 8 treasure tea with high-quality ginseng for him. My mouth is sweeter than honey, I said. Aunt Mia, you really know how to cook so well. I'm in love with you. Stop being so cheeky and go to school, she replied. Under my careful attention, Ethan's complexion visibly improved. He no longer had to eat tasteless and oily meals from the cafeteria. Gradually, he started gaining weight and wasn't as frail anymore. Every day, he had chocolate with a glass of milk, and I meticulously supervised him to make sure he finished it. His academic performance also became more impressive. Even before the exams, several prestigious schools had already extended offers to him. With his tutoring, my math grades started to improve too. Now, he not only tutored me in math but also in other subjects. With his support and my relentless effort, my grades soared. In this lifetime, I was determined to carve out a path for myself. I knew that my father's fate was the result of his own actions. 3 feet of ice doesn't form in a single day. The seeds of trouble had been sown in my childhood. All I could do was make myself strong enough that, 10 years from now, I could stand beside Ethan without relying on anyone, even if the world changed beyond recognition. Years later, the world would belong to us. Ethan, I want not only to meet you at the pinnacle but also to be the one who accompanies you through the climb. In this life, under my effort, a seed of love had quietly sprouted in our hearts. We understood each other without words. After clearing up that misunderstanding, he started calling me Princess again. I asked him, why do you always call me Princess? After thinking seriously, he said, the day you gave me sweet and sour ribs and took the initiative to be friendly with me, you seemed like a princess who saves the world from suffering. Despite being high up, you were incredibly kind. I smiled brightly. But inside, I felt a bit puzzled. In my past life, I never took the initiative with him, so why did he still call me Princess later? But the answer didn't matter anymore. Because, in this vast world, I'm here with you. On the day the Harvard University self-admission exam ended, Ethan disappeared while I was in the bathroom. An ominous feeling surged in my heart. Sure enough, Noah had used the lowest and dirtiest tricks to bully Ethan by finding Theo. Because I was always by Ethan's side lately, Theo hadn't had the chance to act. This time, they dragged him into a small alley by the school. When I arrived, Ethan was being restrained by several people, and Noah and Theo were taking turns beating him. Ethan's face was twisted in pain, his hands clutching his abdomen, and he lay on the ground, gasping for breath. His forehead was covered in cold sweat, but he clenched his teeth, trying not to make a sound. Theo spat, such a tough bone? Still not begging for mercy? As Theo was about to hit Ethan again, I pulled out my phone and called. Hearing the noise, Theo turned around and approached me with malicious intent. What's wrong? Miss Isabella going to call the police? I clenched my fists and stared back at him defiantly. He arrogantly continued, haha, calling the police? Doesn't Miss Isabella know what my uncle does? As he tried to snatch my phone, I immediately spoke with a trembling voice, hello, Dad, I'm in the alley by the school. Please come and rescue me. Theo panicked, Noah, didn't you say her dad was out of town? I threatened, even if he is out of town, do you dare to touch me? Noah, doesn't your company want to go public anymore? At that moment, the harsh sound of police sirens grew closer. They panicked and fled. I helped Ethan up and took him home. On the way, I looked at his injuries and felt both sad and guilty. If it weren't for me, he wouldn't have been targeted by those two scoundrels. If it weren't for me, he wouldn't have been hurt today. Princess, Ethan interrupted my rambling. This is your 100th apology. Ah, sorry, am I too annoying? 101. I didn't expect that Ethan lived in the old medical quarters where I had lived as a child. The once lively medical quarters were now dilapidated, with very few residents. Ethan's home was old but clean. After knocking, Ethan's grandmother opened the door. She had gray hair, blurred vision, and limited mobility. Yet, she knew Ethan was injured and kept questioning if he had been in a fight. Ethan stammered and couldn't answer. I took the liberty to explain to his grandmother, Grandma, I'm Isabella, Ethan's classmate. You wouldn't believe it, but I was bullied by some hooligans today, and Ethan saved me. But he got hurt while saving me. Grandma, he's my big hero. Grandma, hearing this, first praised Ethan, then scolded him and said she would tell the teacher to seek justice for us. After some convincing, she agreed to hold off on reporting and went to cook us noodles. Once in Ethan's room, I began to treat his wounds. Before I could finish, his expression suddenly twisted. You play with the computer for a while. I need to use the bathroom, he said, and left with these words, leaving me alone and bored. At that moment, an old folder on the computer caught my attention. I clicked on it and found it needed a password. I randomly entered a password and, surprisingly, it unlocked. The folder was filled with Ethan's mother's diaries. December 25, 1996, today, I found out I'm pregnant and was also promoted to chief physician. After all these years of hard work, I finally have a good reward. All this good fortune must be because of you, my dear. You're truly a blessing to your mother. From now on, your nickname will be Little Lucky Star. May 20th, 1997, at work, my senior sister did the examination for me and secretly told me it's a boy. Your father asked what name we should give the baby. Asher, Asher. I hope he remains carefree and happy throughout his life. Asher, Mommy and Daddy will love you very much. March 17, 2002, my Asher really loves candied fruit, just like his father, so sweet-toothed. I was promoted to chief physician. But it's still thanks to my senior's recommendation. It turns out my senior's husband is quite impressive, so young yet holding such a high position. But my senior always drinks before going to the operating table, and no matter how I persuade her, she won't change. I'm really worried she might cause an accident. On a happier note, your father's artwork is selling better and better, and everything at home is improving. The savings at home have also increased. Asher keeps asking for a little brother or sister, but that's not so bad. I didn't know when Ethan had sat down beside me. I was startled and quickly wiped away my tears. Before I could explain or apologize, he spoke first. It turned out that, like me, he once lived in a very happy family. His mother was a doctor, and his father was a painter. They were well off and he was showered with love until his mother passed away. Every child wishes for their parents to love each other, but I didn't want that. Since the year my mother died, my birthday wish every year was for my father to stop loving my mother. Unfortunately, heaven didn't listen. He always loved my mother, so much that he was willing to give up on me, even his life, for her. Ethan spoke these words calmly. Yet, my tears fell again. Ethan's mother died due to a medical accident during premature birth. But his father blamed everything on Ethan. Disaster star, you know, everyone calls me that. Others might resent their nickname, feeling it humiliates them. But I can't, because it was my father who gave me that nickname. He said I was a disaster star, who caused my mother and sister's deaths. I used to be called Asher, but he changed my name to Ethan. He said I was the one who killed my mother and sister, so how could I be Asher for life? Ethan's eyes gazed blankly out the window, his tone so detached it felt like he was talking about someone else's story. My father was right because my mother's premature birth was my fault. I insisted on having candied fruit in the middle of the night. At that hour, many shops were closed, and my mother walked several streets with my sister and couldn't find any. On the way back, she suffered from low blood sugar. At this point, he suddenly stopped, as if choked by something in his throat. After a long pause, he continued. Actually, there was still a chance when she was taken to the hospital. Unfortunately, the person performing the surgery was her senior who liked to drink before going to the operating table. At this moment, time seemed to freeze. My ears buzzed, my mind went blank, and suddenly, I couldn't hear anything. I didn't know how I left Ethan's house. I walked aimlessly down the street, lost in thought. It wasn't until the cold wind cut through me that I was jolted awake. In fact, Ethan's mother's senior was my mother. 10 years later, my father's disgraceful end was because he was my mother's shield. In my memories, my mother was under immense pressure, which led to her drinking. No matter how others tried to persuade her, it didn't help. Gradually, drinking turned into alcoholism. A doctor became an alcoholic. Medical accidents happened repeatedly, but she didn't care because my father was always protecting her. Later, an accident became a public scandal due to a twist of fate, and patients harmed in the past came forward. Ultimately, my mother was dismissed from the hospital, but my father used his last strength to protect her, and my father, bearing all the blame and entangled in other problems, reaped the fruits of his own actions. Justice might be delayed, but it will never be absent. So, the landmines buried by my parents were more early and dangerous than I imagined. This landmine not only destroyed me 10 years later but also devastated my present self. I seemed to suddenly understand why I could unlock that password. The gentle and beautiful aunt who used to sing lullabies to comfort me when my mother drank too much was Ethan's mother. Fate is indeed a trickster. At this moment, I finally understood what that piece of chocolate Ethan hid 10 years later meant. It was the repressed, surging love that he held back. In the future, such a formidable person as he surely knew about our relationship. That's why he continued to interact with me under the guise of friendship. He gave me just enough, nothing more, nothing less, to cover my basic needs. I stood by the river, the winter wind cutting to the bone. The snow fell heavier and heavier, thick as goose feathers. I stretched out my hand, and a silver flake landed in my palm. Past and present flashed before my eyes like a passing parade. I stood there for a long, long time. Long enough to lose all sense of feeling. Ethan, if heaven is willing to give us another chance, it means our connection is destined. Whether you are Ethan or Asher, you are the lover I am determined to have in this lifetime. If we are a perfect match, I am willing to be with you for life. If we are a tragic fate, I will accompany you to the underworld. Isabella. I turned towards the voice. At the end of the long street, in the dimming twilight, Ethan stood there, tall and upright. My tears burst forth instantly. He walked towards me, step by step. I've been looking for you for a long time. Why are you here alone? My voice was almost too hoarse to speak. How did you find me? When you left, you seemed to be in a trance. The more I thought about it, the more uneasy I felt, so I came to find you. Ethan took off his scarf and wrapped it around my neck. I felt warm all over. I looked at him, my vision growing increasingly blurry. Ethan, you are the person I would give up the whole world to be with. Even if it means being scorned by thousands. I still decided to give it a try. Even if I become just a small page in your story. Even if I am only a tiny wave in the river of your life. I need to tell you. I took a deep breath, looked into his eyes earnestly, and slowly spoke. Ethan, do you know why I was able to unlock that password? He looked back at me without answering. It's because that nursery rhyme was taught to me by your mother. When I mentioned mother, his eyes lit up. I continued, and my mother is the senior who appeared in your mother's diary. His pupils constricted, and his face turned pale. For a long time, he stood there motionless, like a marionette. His reaction was as expected. Time passed second by second. As the heavy snow covered us, I slowly said, let's go home. Ethan, goodbye. I turned away, crying uncontrollably. Today is my 17th birthday. Ethan is not here. I made a wish to the heavy snow, Heaven, my wish for my 17th birthday is for Ethan to be safe and healthy for life. In the following days, Ethan and I seemed to revert to our original state. I no longer had the face to him. Although I still placed chocolates on his desk every day, I never saw him eat them or throw them away. However, the fact that he still sat with me at the same table was already a good result. I no longer hoped for anything more. Soon, winter passed and spring arrived. With exams approaching, time became tight. In this life, because I worked like a madwoman, my grades improved steadily. Although I still struggled with math, I knew Ethan's habits. He would mark the key questions with a red pen, and I could sneak a peek. His notebook was meticulously organized with various methods and common mistakes, with neat handwriting and clear organization. And he never took his notebook home, which made it easy for me to get my hands on the study guide. As I overcame my weaknesses, my ranking was getting closer and closer to Ethan's. The hibiscus bloomed, and summer was long. I entered the exam room once again. After the exam results came out, I was the top student in the entire school. Since Ethan's grades were not available, Harvard University directly came to the school to recruit him. Later, I used the money from home, posing as Mia the nanny, and gave Ethan $1 million under the guise of supporting the top student. In the future, he would need this money as startup capital. In this life, I don't want him to exhaust himself and spend his health to earn this money bit by bit. As a result, my father beat me and kept me in bed for half a month. Because I told him that the $1 million was used for gambling and that I had lost it all. But as his own daughter, after warning me not to gamble again, he eventually let me go. On the day of the graduation party, I drank several bottles of alcohol. Liquor emboldens the timid. I went to the street below Ethan's house again. He came downstairs, and upon seeing me, his eyes shimmered, but he did not speak for a long time. Dark clouds covered the sky, and a piercing beam of light split through the heavens. I looked at the familiar face, feeling a lump in my throat. Ethan, I know you can't accept me, but that's okay. Can you let me finish what I have to say? Seeing my tearful eyes, he could only nod. Ethan, in the days to come, you must take good care of yourself. You absolutely can't keep eating pickled vegetables and fermented tofu every day. You need to improve your nutrition. Also, no matter how busy you are with your studies or career in the future, make sure to get plenty of sleep. And most importantly, after you graduate from university, you must get your liver checked thoroughly every year. You must. The more I spoke, the more urgent and agitated I became. But before I could finish, he interrupted me. Isabella. Let's go to hell together. His voice was cold, and I didn't immediately understand. What? I widened my eyes, and the sudden warmth of his lips made my mind go blank for a few seconds. When I came to my senses, I tightly embraced him. Large raindrops began to fall. Soon, the rain poured down heavily. Princess, it's raining, his voice was close to my ear. I looked at the city veiled in mist and felt as if I were dreaming. The rain kept pouring down. But I was unwilling to let go. Because I had expended great effort and used up all my luck in this lifetime just to embrace you so completely. 10 years later, my parents met the same fate. During these 10 years, no matter how much I tried to persuade, I could not change my mother's alcoholism. To prevent more people from being harmed by my mother, I resolutely chose to report her. But my reports were met with silence, time and again. Until my father discovered that the culprit behind spending so much money to cover up these matters was me. He nearly beat me to death. That's when I realized how naive I was in the face of power and money. Money not only moves mountains but also turns people into monsters. Of course, I did not change the path my father continued down. This was within my expectations. In the end, I never saw him in deep regret. I only saw his calm acceptance of the consequences. So no matter how many times we start over, I can't change this predetermined outcome. Ethan still got cancer. But fortunately, it was detected early this time, with my meticulous care over the past 10 years. And with him exercising seriously, and going to bed early and waking up early under my supervision. His body withstood the surgery to remove part of his liver. Because of his good health, he recovered quickly. But the doctor said there is a possibility of recurrence. So he must maintain a regular lifestyle and keep a cheerful disposition. I smiled confidently, With me around, cancer cells will have no chance. Ethan, fate's hardships have pushed you to the edge of a cliff. So let me sit with you on this cliff's edge, watching the drifting mists together, and from now on, we will be bound by life and death. An epilogue to Ethan. Actually, calling Isabella princess comes from a cartoon. When I was young, I depended on my grandmother, and we didn't have much money. I watched TV at the neighbor's house. She always liked to watch Snow White. So I watched it with her. In my memory, Snow White always wore a red dress, waiting for her prince. I knew I wasn't a prince. But I still admired the princess's beauty. Later, at a school welcome party, Isabella, dressed in a red gown, took the microphone and stepped onto the stage. Her appearance was strikingly beautiful, her skin glowing white. The noisy hall immediately fell silent, all eyes fixed on that red figure. She spoke gracefully and composedly, her speech like a heavenly melody. Standing in the center of the stage, she smiled brightly and brilliantly. At that moment, I thought I saw the real Snow White. And I, looking up at the stage, felt like a rat in the gutter, trying to spy on the world's most beautiful princess. Later, I learned from my classmates that she was indeed a real princess. I thought we would never have any connection in this lifetime. But unexpectedly, she took the initiative to get close. She was coerced by her boyfriend to serve me food. But in my bowl, there were only the cafeteria's free pickled vegetables. In that moment, my inferiority was exposed. I knew she looked down on my food because it wasn't the kind of food for people of her status. Luckily, she didn't eat it because a princess wouldn't eat such things. Perhaps on a whim, before she left, she gave me a chocolate. But her fleeting gesture caused ripples that affected my entire life. When we met again, the once lofty princess was now selling sweet potatoes. She was dirty and disheveled, quietly listening to former friends ridicule her. Seeing her like this, my heart felt inexplicably blocked. At that time, I already knew about her parents. I also knew that the unethical doctor who performed surgery on my mother and sister was the princess's mother. But then I realized. My father had placed all his resentment on me. I experienced that suffocating feeling firsthand. So why would I let history repeat itself with her? I brought her home and treated her like a friend. I suppressed my overwhelming love for her, because I was afraid of scaring my little princess. In our subsequent interactions, I felt the warmth of life. After succeeding in my career, the world is grand and brilliant, but it is also dark and bloody. No matter how the world is, I am always an outsider. Like a floating weed, like a lonely soul. Until the princess reappeared, I felt a sense of solid grounding. She showed me warmth and sunshine, and gave me a reason to live in this world. She is my homecoming. I wanted to let everyone know I love you when the mist clears. But heaven did not let me wait for that day. If I could live again. My princess, could you come to my side earlier?